Para malabanan ang COVID-19, ang kailangan natin ay tama at totoong impormasyon, hindi fake news. Huwag ka agad maniniwala sa nababasa at naririnig. Ang pagkalat ng mga maling paniniwala tungkol sa COVID-19 ay nagdudulot ng panik, takot at maling desisyon. Laging i-double check kung saan nanggaling ang nabasa o narinig. Maging mapanuri at i-share lamang ang tamang impormasyon. Sa wastong pag-iingat, ang virus hindi kakalat. COVID-19, kayang-kaya nating tapusin.
A healthy afternoon, everyone. Magandang tanghali. Ma'am Betty and all our viewers. May mga nag-comment na thank you guys. Thank you our Gen Z. So excited for this from Colleen. Thank you, Colleen. Hello, and kay Richian. Baka pamangkin ko yata ito, Gonzales, di ba? Hi, Richian and Gonzales. Thank you guys for supporting our health revolution. Tama-tama. This is good for, di ba Ma'am Betty, young as you are, kailangan proactive tayo sa health.
Gusto ko yan, young as you are. Anyway, the only thing we should do is just be happy. So, happy Wednesday to all of you. So, once again, on Health Revolution, we try to bring you changes, diba? Yun yung focus ng show natin.
Yes.
And
be
the
proactive.
only thing constant is change, diba?
Yes.
And today, we are very, very fortunate na we are, some people would think na, paano na to, ganito ako. Well, I'm hopeless, diba? But what people do not realize is, with just a simple stroke of your hand and you change your penmanship, you will be able to change your character. Tsaka, all changes come from within Dapat gusto mo yun. And you also should also believe that you will change, diba? So habang nagsusulat ka. And so this is something not very common kasi, 'di ba? So even 'di ba ikaw Raymond nagulat ka 'di ba? Na may ganun pala.
Oo kasi 'di ba communicate tapos sa Viber, tapos sabi sa Raymond, can you send me your email mo, signature mo and your penmanship, ganun tagalan pa nga Pero nung binigay yung analysis, wow, sabi ko ang galing, very scientific yata ito Talagang accurate siya. I must say medyo nasa pool.
So,
pero in a positive way, in a positive way kasi ganda.
Oo.
Yes.
Ayun. So today we're very honored nga to have as our guest Mr. JAIME SIYBAUCO of the Handwriting Institute of the Philippines. Madaming uses actually ang handwriting, for example, in the States, di ba, hindi pwede mga discrimination, ganyan. So, if you know about handwriting, at least you get that initial insight on the person you are interviewing. So, yung mga HR na mga tao, it would also be nice if you can learn handwriting analysis. Of course, hindi naman siya, hindi siya foolproof na, palaging tama, di ba? But, at least it gives you a certain insight to it. And I hope Mr. SIYBAUCO will have seminars about his handwriting analysis.
Very interesting. And actually kasi 'di ba, ngayon kasi ba iniisip na marami keyboard warriors na tao, keyboards na kaya medyo hindi na masyado nabibigyan ng pansin kung tawagin yung yung ating mga handwriting na penmanship, no? Pero kailangan siguro medyo balikan natin yung roots niyan, no?
Yeah, so, kasi mga bata ngayon mahirap din, di ba? Malay nyo, mga mommies.
Naku, lalo pa lang ngayon, blended learning. So, nasa bahay na.
At least nasa bahay, learn something about, di ba? How you can correct the personality of your children. through
Oo nga,
handwriting.
attention, shout out moms. Okay, so mga
Oo.
teachers too. Ito po, bago natin introduce, flash natin, let's all be informed, 100%. Hello, Charlotte,
Yes, correct. Oo. Knowledge
Hussein,
is power.
yan.
Hi,
Joy
Joy.
Luansin. Tsaka sabi nga, sino ba yung nagsabi? Socrates ba yun? Pagka, yung, if you yung if knowledge is power, knowing na yung mga hindi mo alam is also importante rin yan. It gives us
Ah,
more something more. Siyempre, you have to know that your limitations. Parang nalo ko
ah.
sinabi ni Clint
Mm-mm.
Eastwood, man has to know his limitations. Si Dirty
Mm-mm.
Harry from the
Okay.
70s.
Yeah.
Si Make My
So,
Day. Okay, let's
mm-mm.
play.
Sige.
Play the music video tuloy. Lagi kasi guest kay musicians. The introduction video of our guest. Without further ado, eto po. Here we go.
Our guest speaker is a businessman engaged in insurance, trading, marketing and management consultancy, event management, laundromat, business brokering, and many other ventures. He is known in the Philippines as an expert in handwriting analysis or graphology. He earned his degree in Bachelor of Science in Electronics and Communications Engineering from University of Santo Tomas. He is engaged as a strong leader in social and civic activities. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to our guest speaker, Mr. JAIME SIYBAUCO.
Yan.
Okay.
Hi.
Sir Jaime, James, however we pronounce it. Pasensya na, Americanized pala yung natin AI. Anyway,
Yeah,
welcome, sir.
thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's an honor.
Good noon, Jimmy. Long time no see.
Yeah,
Si
long time no see.
Jimmy, Jimmy
Yes.
is my, nagsama kami niyan dati in, registered financial planning. Hindi lang niya
Oh,
pinursu. Hindi niya
wow.
sinabi sa inyo, no? He's also registered financial planner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Aside from the many, many activities that he does for civic organizations and he also used to have a webinar. So I think Jimmy, you
Hmm.
should also revive those webinars of yours. Kanina we were saying nga na what people do not know is handwriting analysis is also good for yun, sabi ko yung mga HR, they can when they hire people, sabi nga nung
Mhm.
mentor ko in entrepreneurship everything is in the hiring because I said
yes,
I'm having a lot of problems with the employees. Sabi niya, everything is in the hiring. So,
Hmm.
if you know about handwriting analysis, it will be a great help, 'di ba? Tama ba ako,
Opo.
Sir Jimmy?
yeah, correct. Yeah. So, uh, you know, a lot of things can be we can read a person like a book through handwriting or
Mhm.
through their drawing.
Mhm.
So that's
Mm.
interesting. Yeah. So yeah, maybe
Paano po
well,
ba itong
hopefully I can
this is
come up with more
yes,
seminars.
sir. Is this a
Mm.
science or paano po ba ito na-form itong Actually,
Handwriting.
this is new to me po eh. Sorry. Pardon my
No,
ignorance on this.
handwriting analysis or graphology is a science and an art. Okay,
Mm.
Mhm.
it's part of psychology.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Akalang tao hula ito, but it's not hula
Mm.
because
Mm.
the accuracy of the reading should be at least in the state is 85% accuracy
Mhm.
Mhm. Mm.
Okay.
to say that you are a good graphologist.
Si
Mm.
Raymond nga, believe na nga sa'yo eh.
Oo,
So,
kasi sinampulan ako ni sir eh. Kasi last week pa tayo nag-schedule, nagko-communicate na kami. Actually, late ko pa nga napadala yung na-email yung naghanap ako ng mga notes. Kung nakita ko, pag pagbasa ko yung notes pa pala ng meeting natin ng Betty na i-send ko. From last year, March pa yata, before we rolled out dapat sana, di ba, mag-roll out tayo ng campus tour natin ng Health Revolution. Ayun.
pero
Tapos yung balik sa akin na analysis, wow! February
but
yata.
then, there's
Yes,
even
yes.
something, kailan mahirap din, no, pag online, no, Jimmy? Kasi, di ba, tinitingnan din yung force ng pagsulat, eh.
Correct.
Hindi na na-hold yung paper.
Yes.
Mm.
So graphology or your handwriting is three-dimensional. The force of the way you write is also part of the interpretation.
Mm-mm.
Ah,
So, pag online, hindi siya makikita.
hindi
Okay. So iba pa
makikita.
yung actual na kasi may yung pwersa ba yung diin, di ba? Like
Correct.
yung ano
Oo,
po ba?
right.
Di ba yung pagka yung magve-verify yung mga NBI tsaka sa mga bangko, di ba ba?
Mm,
Kailangan yung stroke and yung
mm,
diin, ganyan.
mm.
So mas diin ba, mas madi ba, mas gigil ba yun? Mas may angst ba yung tao nun? O mas may
Okay.
hugot? Ganun ba
Uh,
yun, sir?
okay, good question. Okay, DJ Raymond. Number one, if your pressure is strong that you can feel the bottom, ibig sabihin malakas ang energy mo.
Okay.
Mhm,
But if you're writing yung period, no, yung dot, kapag
mhm,
natugas, you break the paper, meaning that you are a very
Mabubutas.
forceful
angry.
person, especially when you're angry. When you
Oo,
write, no, your tendency is to be very strong. But if you're
mhm,
sick, medyo mahina ang pag-writing nyo,
Yes.
very weak. So again,
mhm,
Mahirap
our
talaga.
writing is controlled by our minds.
Mhm. Correct.
mhm.
As
So
yes,
So
today,
totoo po
ano,
yan.
but today we're going to talk about graphology, 'di ba? Yun, uh, we would like people to understand that we can use the handwriting, the art of handwriting, to correct a personality or,
Mm.
'di ba? Like for example, sabi ko yung mga mommies, they want to change some character traits in the children,
Mhm.
ano. And then
yeah,
most especially now na mental illness, mental health is very
Yeah,
important
because of the
during the
pandemic.
pandemic. Oo. Tsaka they might take the chance also na mas close ngayon yung mga moms kasi they're teaching at home eh. So they can understand their kids better if they can,
Mm.
analyze and help the children. Para we do not come up with the new generation of children na puro games na lang. So ano, Sir Jimmy, what have you noticed with the handwriting of children nowadays?
okay. For parents, so this is very important. Take a look at the handwriting of your children. If their handwriting is magulo, that is a problem. Ibig
Mm.
sabihin, when they grow old, they will be very impatient,
Oh.
Mhm,
and
mhm,
probably they will be very emotional. So,
mhm,
but
mhm,
ang maganda dito with graphotherapy, we can try to help them become better so
mhm,
Oh,
that
wow.
their future will be brighter. Okay,
mhm,
Mhm.
handwriting cannot predict the future, but we
mhm,
can change your present so that your future becomes better.
better.
Okay.
Mm.
Alright, so
So,
meron tayong magandang
dapat,
takeaways ngayon. So I
Yeah,
think si Sir Jimmy has a PowerPoint presentation. Are we ready to share
yeah.
it na
Can
po
we
ba?
start the
Okay.
PowerPoint?
Yes, sir.
mm,
Okay.
Let's start with the first slide.
And
Oh,
can you see it now, sir? Yan na po. Kita mo na.
you know, graphology or handwriting was discovered, believe it or not, by monk.
mm.
Okay,
By
wait, by monk, mga
ah,
pare.
So,
monk.
sila
Oh,
yung
Yeah,
nag-ano,
Europe.
kasi syempre they're secluded, so
ah,
they
monastery.
started
Yeah.
studying,
Yes. Sa mga
Mm.
Okay.
monastery, no? Sa
Well, yeah, the
monastery.
history.
Sila yung maganda ang handwriting,
Yeah, the history about why the monk discovered handwriting analysis and graphotherapy, because previously Bibles were written by hand.
Oh, yeah.
Mm,
Written by
mm,
hand. There was no printing press. So now the mga monks, they said, how come your handwriting is different from the other monk? So they discovered that personality and handwriting are
mm,
connected to each other. Okay,
mhm,
Okay.
so
So this is
handwriting,
an ancient, ano pa pala to, sir? Ancient science pa pala to and art.
correct,
I mean,
ancient,
the,
but
okay. Opo.
it's
mhm,
very
Wow.
old already. It started in Europe. It started in
mhm,
Okay.
Europe. So, uh, but unfortunately, it's not yet so popular in the Philippines. But in Europe, yes, it's popular.
Mm.
In United States, yes, it's popular. So they hired graphologists to read prospective employees. They
Mm-hmm.
hired graphology to determine whether this honesty or not in an
Mm-hmm.
employee or a situation. So these things we can actually graphology or handwriting is the study of personality and emotion of a person through their handwriting. So now,
Interesting.
right now we're going to talk of two topics: handwriting analysis and graphotherapy. So what is graphotherapy? Graphotherapy is if we can change our handwriting, can it change our personality? The answer is yes. Can it help us to become better? The answer is yes again. Okay, by doing some correction on the handwriting. Can we go to the next slide?
Yes, sir. Oh, wow, si
Okay,
Idol to.
see Jose Rizal, our national hero. So what he said, he died only once, and if we do not die well, we lose a good opportunity which we will never come up again. If one has to die, at least one must die in his own country, by his country, and for his country. This was wrote by Jose, wrote by Mariano Ponce. Now, do you see the handwriting of Jose Rizal?
Oh, yes, a signature.
On the screen, it's on the left. Jose
Yes.
Rizal. Now, this is
Yeah,
how we
signature.
interpret his signature. Number
Mhm.
one, if you notice, you can read his name, Jose Rizal. Ibig sabihin, Jose Rizal is what you see is what you get. Whoever he is at home and in the public, he's still the same personality. If you notice Jose Rizal, Jose and Rizal are connected to each other.
Yeah.
It means that he value closeness in the family.
Mm.
Okay. Now, what else can we see? So his handwriting is his signature. Remember, signature in graphology is public image. So his public image, he can be trusted as a person. Now,
Mm.
one of the very interesting stroke here is the underline. Do
Mhm.
you see the
Pababa.
underline here?
Sir,
The underline,
clear.
yeah, that one. The underline is what we call the leadership stroke. Ibig
Oh.
sabihin, Jose Rizal is a leader. But the funny thing of his underline, it is going to the left and going down.
Mhm.
Meaning,
Yeah.
Jose Rizal
Counter.
knows that he will be somebody, but he knows that he will not live long.
Mm.
So based on his signature, okay, so it's going down. Ibig sabihin, he knows that he will die. That's why it's written there that
Suicidal.
no, no, he's not suicide. He knows
Not
that he will die for
suicidal.
his country. Okay,
Okay.
Gano'n siya ka-focused, no? He's really focused on that.
yeah. So
At saka
this
sir,
is
if
how.
I may disrupt you sir, parang
Yes. Okay.
pakaliwa, no? Counter-cultural yung ano niya, yung slash pababa. It's
Yeah.
going against the flow, di ba?
Yeah. Actually, in graphology, if you go to the left, it is meaning and down, meaning depressed or down or
Oh,
negative.
okay.
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 So, but
Okay.
if you notice his handwriting is going up, that means he's positive about his
Okay.
what he's going to do.
Galing.
Let's go
Yeah.
to the next slide. This is
Sir,
also
oh,
Pres-
very
President
interesting din
Donald
to.
Trump. Okay, this
Yes,
is
very
okay.
colorful.
Former president. If you notice that his signature is sharp, parang shark's
Yes.
teeth, di ba? So what
Mm-hmm.
does it mean? Ibig sabihin, he is a very aggressive person.
Mm.
Very, very aggressive person. So, yeah, very hard to deal with him because what he wants, he gets. Okay, so this one is
Oh,
very impatient, and he will fight for what he believes is correct.
oh well.
Okay, this is how we read. Let's go to the
Kita
next.
natin.
This is more
Yes.
interesting.
Okay,
The
sige.
next slide.
Oh,
This
wow.
is the signature of our President Duterte. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, let me analyze. Number one, you look at the R and Duterte. Have you seen the
Yes,
R
sir.
and Duterte? It's
Yes,
joined
yes.
together, meaning that President Duterte values closeness in the family.
Okay, good.
That's
Good.
number one. Number two, if you notice the R is bigger than the Duterte. So what does it mean? He wants to prove to his parents who he is. Okay,
Mm.
that's why it's larger. Okay. What else can we see? Well, more or less you can read his handwriting. So what you see is what you get, like Jose
Oh,
Rizal, who he is at home and who is outside is still the same person.
mm,
No pretense.
interesting.
Okay,
Transparent, transparent person.
transparent. One of the most interesting about the signature of our president is the T. Can you show the
Mm,
T? The T bar.
yes, sir.
Yeah,
It's
the
long,
T bar.
elongated.
The T bar is straight because there's two T in the Duterte, no?
Mm.
So the
Mm.
bar
Yes.
means that our president, when he say he will do it, he will do it.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
Okay, so he's
Mm.
determined because of this T bar. Now,
Mm.
in graphotherapy, how can I help the president just in case? If you notice the last T, the
Mm.
bar and the stem
Mm.
are a little bit far. If you
Mm.
notice, can
Mm-hmm.
we
Did
Yeah.
not
can we go
did
there?
not
Opo,
meet.
they're not connected. They're not connected.
That
Mm.
Yeah.
for me, if I were to recommend to our president to lower the bar touching the stem,
Oh,
Mm.
okay?
Mhm.
So what does
Mm.
that mean? Meaning his his uh his ideas will be more down to earth by that, because the upper
mm,
it is, the more higher the
Mhm.
ideal, more ideal is his
okay.
ideas. Okay,
Okay.
so if you
Mhm.
Idealistic.
Mhm.
More
so at least
idealistic.
he will have stress, less stress.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
now
Mm.
what can graphology do? Graphology, we can determine a person whether it's he or she is depressed or suicidal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me tell you a story. More than
Okay.
20
So,
years ago, when I started studying graphology, normally I treat my customers to restaurant to eat. And there was one time I was treated my customer to Makati in Makati. So normally me, kapag 12 o'clock, parang Cinderella ako. Uwi na ako. So sinabi ko sa mga sa boss, uwi na ako 12 o'clock na
Mhm.
eh.
Mhm.
Okay, so now I asked the waitress, no, Miss, pwede ba yung bill? So the waitress gave me the bill. When I saw the bill, I was shocked. This
Mhm.
is what I told the waitress. Sabi ko, Miss, huwag ka magalit Sinabi ng waitress, bakit sir? Bakit gusto mong saktan ang sarili mo?
Mhm.
oh.
You know what the waitress did? She cried in front of me. I said,
Oh.
Miss, huwag ka umiyak
Because
dito, baka magulpi ako dito. Diba? So then she
Mhm.
started telling the story. Sinabi, sir, sa totoo lang, after my work, 3 o'clock in the morning, sabi ko, I intend to jump.
Mhm.
oh,
Suicide.
wow.
Sabi ko,
Mhm.
tumas ang balahibo ko. Sabi ko,
Mhm.
bakit po? Sinabi, kasi my boyfriend broke up with me.
Oh.
Mhm.
Pero sabi ko, ganun pa? Sabi ko, can you tell me the story? Sinabi, yung boyfriend niya is one of the customers.
Mhm.
But the problem is the boyfriend says he wants to break the relationship. Why?
Mm-hmm.
It's because number one, the boyfriend has a family of his own.
Oh.
Mhm.
Okay,
Married
sinabi ng
na. Mhm.
waitress, I love you not because of the money you support me, but because I love you. But sinabi ng
Mhm.
boyfriend, I'm sorry, my children are growing up. I have to
Mhm.
support them. So
Mhm.
your waitress was very depressed and suicidal. So I'd ask her, meron ka bang anak? Sinabi, meron. I have a daughter less than 10 years old. Sabi ko,
Mhm.
ma'am, if you were to jump this morning, ang
Mhm.
problema, hindi ikaw, kundi kawawa ang anak mo.
Mhm.
So
Tama.
sinabi ko, you are fortunate sa lahat ng customer sa itong restaurant neto, I
Mhm.
was able to see what you intend to do.
Mhm.
Alam mo, mahal ka pa ng Diyos.
Mhm.
Kung ako'y sa'yo, pag tapos ka ng trabaho, go to Baclaran Church and pray and thank the Lord that,
Mhm.
somebody was able to stop what you intend to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So after that, I went home. The next day, I
Uh-huh.
bought newspaper, all newspaper.
Mhm.
I was looking if there was floating body sa Pasig. Mabuti na lang wala.
Wala. Okay.
But anyway, the story short, after probably a month, I went back to the restaurant just to see. So I was
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
greeted by the waitress. Sabi ko,
Mhm.
sir,
Oh.
salamat po ang ginawa mo sa akin.
Mhm.
You know, when I went to that restaurant, I have a problem when I was there.
Mhm.
So when I entered the restaurant, lumapit ang manager, lumapit ang ibang waiter, lumapit ang kusinero, "Sir, pakibasa lang, basuran namin." Sabi ko, "Hayop kayo, dapat
Mahula
libre
na
na akong pagkain dito." No, but handwriting
But
analysis can determine whether the state emotion of a person.
Mm.
So especially now sa
It's not fortune telling, guys. It's not fortune telling, di ba?
it's not fortune.
Nagkataon.
it's
Yeah.
a science, science
It's
based
science.
siya. What did you see in the handwriting at that time, Sir Jimmy?
Sa handwriting, well, I saw sadness. I saw sadness in the lady. For your information, no, right now in Asian countries, we're talking about Asian,
Yeah.
most of the people kapag may emotional or psychological problem, they would look for manghuhula, fortune teller, tarot reader, rather than life counselor,
Counselors. Yeah.
yeah,
Oo.
Psychiatrists.
life coach,
Life
Sci-
coach.
or psychiatrist.
mga science-based na mga
Yeah,
consultancies, ayaw nila yan.
yeah, mas gusto nila manghula. But akala
That's not
nila
good.
graphology is manghula. No, this is not. Actually, we are just reading and we're just projecting the mirror of the person. So, minsan, there was one time during the exhibit, may lumapit sa akin eh. Sabi ko, "Do you believe in Jesus Christ?" Sabi ko, "Of course." Ano ba ito? Ano ba ito? Demonyo eh.
Akala psychic fortune teller si Sir Jimmy.
Actually,
That's funny.
graphology is not a gift. It is a science and an art. You can learn graphology. It's just sixth sense. Do you know what sixth sense is?
Well, sabi
Well,
nila, third eye yun, di ba, sir? Third eye na yun.
Third eye. No, in sixth sense is what we call common sense.
Common sense.
Common sense. Because when I teach later, now I'll show you some slide.
Yes, sir.
You can analyze your own handwriting, okay, and determine
Okay,
whether
sige.
there are
Wow.
facts or
We
not.
have a workshop. All right.
Well,
Cool.
it's part of a workshop, but again, graphotherapy is it's normally designed kasi different folks, different strokes.
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
Oh, pala yung
so
kasabihan na yun, no? Different strokes. Different
yes.
for different folks. Okay,
Now,
sir.
so right now, before we
Yes,
right
sir.
now, all over the world, now we have a problem regarding mental health.
Yes.
So now the question is, can we help our people without spending much money? I said yes. So number one, how do we do it? Parents, number one, look at the way your children write.
Okay.
If
sir.
their writing is terrible, that is a big concern.
My writing is terrible, sir.
Oh, your writing is okay, better.
Terrible means you cannot understand what the
cannot
the
understand.
right.
Okay.
Remember
Paano yung mga
when we-
doktor, sir? Paano yung mga
Yeah?
doktor? Paano yung mga doctors?
Okay.
Terrible ang
Doctors
handwriting nila.
okay, good question. Doctors are different. Doctors
Okay.
scribble because they think faster than the way they write. That's why they scribble.
Oh, mga genius pala yun. Mga
Okay,
genius pala.
yeah, they're genius. Okay. Now, in handwriting, especially
Yes, sir.
parents, take a look at the handwriting of your children. If their handwriting are not legible, there's a concern. Especially when they grow up, they will become impatient and emotionally unstable. But there's a way of helping them right now during this pandemic. Right now, there's always an online schooling, right? So normally they have a lot of free time. How do I recommend these parents to help their children become better? Number one is go back to the basic of handwriting. So ask your children, if they have nothing to do, ask them to write longhand. When we say longhand, use cursive. Cursive, longhand. So ask them
Diba
to write.
sa
Yes.
bookstore, there are a lot of those. 'Di ba when we were younger, we used to copy, 'di ba? Copy yung
Correct.
meron pa yun yung may
Writing
lines
exercise,
rule.
yes. Writing notebooks. Writing
The blue,
notebooks.
red, 'di ba? Those with the blue, red, blue lines, and then
Right,
kailangan
yes.
i-shoot mo within the line, even yung
Yes.
half nung dapat maayos siya, 'di ba?
Unfortunately, there is very less notebook. because we count mostly on computers and mobile
Yes,
phones.
keyboards
Oo
na po.
nga eh. Oh,
Kasi
yeah.
yun.
So, dapat handwriting. I remember when I was younger, when I have to write something like, pero yun sa Chinese naman, Chinese handwriting. Ano yun eh, one sheet of paper, my dad would give me 25 centavos. Di sige, sulat ng sulat. So some people were saying, oh, your handwriting is good, di ba? But it actually is an exercise eh. 'Di ba? When we write well, it also bodes well for us, 'di ba? Sir Jimmy.
Yes,
It
correct.
means mas when the more you practice, the better you are at it. And I think I noticed, 'di ba, some schools, they put a lot of emphasis on the handwriting to the point na mapansin mo lahat sila pare-pareho ng handwriting.
Yes, an example is um, um, Montessori.
Mm,
They have their
mm,
own calligraphy.
mm, mm,
Assumption also has their own style.
Oh, wow.
mm.
Provena
Okay.
also.
Pare-pareho.
So
Mm.
kailangan talaga they train their
Yeah.
students.
Handwriting is
Okay,
very
yung ganong
important.
klaseng style
Yes.
with their own parang signature ano nila. Parang
Mhm.
Yes.
brand,
Okay.
parang branding ano, parang branding.
Correct.
This is
Correct.
our brand.
Okay. Let
Okay.
me explain. No, our
Yes, sir.
handwriting is our personal image.
Mhm.
Our
Mm.
signature is public image. So
Mhm.
what you
Mhm.
want to project, it will reflect in our signature.
Mhm.
So, but the true you is your handwriting.
Mm.
Okay, let's go
Mhm.
back to the parents. Like what Betty said, though, ask your children to write.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now the next question, what should they write?
Mhm.
For me, I would suggest the Lord's Prayer.
Good.
The Lord's
Mhm.
Prayer. Because, every time they write, the Lord's Prayer will be in their subconscious mind. So
Mhm.
maybe when they grow up, they will remember the Lord's Prayer.
Oo nga.
And maybe
Mhm.
they can find strength in the Lord's Prayer.
That's good.
Mhm. Oh, good
Oh, it's a very
exercise,
good
no?
tip. Tsaka mahaba yun, ha? It's long
Yeah.
and also it's also a prayer. So,
Mm.
ano, di ba?
Okay.
Double
Double,
positivity,
again, but
double
remember,
benefit.
we're training them. We're we're making their foundation more solid when they're young. So when
Mm.
they grow up, they will become better.
Mm.
So
Yes.
parents, right now, ask your children to write in
Mm.
cursive, and the key word here is legible, not perfect,
Mm.
legible. Must
Legible.
Legible.
you must
Basa lang.
you must be able to read what's
Read it.
written. You remember,
Mm.
my parents always ask me, my mother especially, write legibly. Pangil ang sulat mo.
Mm.
There
Mm.
is a sense to that. Now, okay,
Mm.
let me explain what is the advantage of handwriting. Kanina sinabi ni Betty, the art of handwriting. In the future, baka this might become the ancient art of handwriting if we continue
Instant.
doing typewriting and mobile
Mm.
phone.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm.
Number one,
Oh.
if you do handwriting, you become more intelligent.
Mhm.
Oh,
Believe it or
wow.
not.
It's a good
Why?
Mm.
takeaway already.
Because number one, when you write, you use your eyes, you use your
Mm-hmm.
hands,
Yeah.
Mm.
and you use your brain.
Yes,
So
the
you
Mm.
motor
use a
skill.
lot of senses. Okay.
Correct.
Mhm.
Number two, if you handwrite, it improves your concentration. It
Mhm.
improves your concentration because right now, if you're
Focus.
typing, it's probably a habit already. But if
Mhm.
you write, it improves your concentration.
Mhm.
Mouse,
Mhm.
our brain is a muscle. Remember, use it
Mhm.
or lose it.
Oh,
Mhm.
If you notice mga old ladies in Hong Kong or in China, they play mahjong,
yes,
diba?
Mhm.
yes, medyo.
So
Yeah.
they use their brain. That's why they're long life, diba?
Mm. Yes,
Kaya
correct,
nga,
correct. Yung
if
palang
you
sikat ng
are
grandmother ko, ano yun, hanggang sa nag-retire, hanggang sa nawala.
Oh.
Mahjong.
Kasi
mahjong,
yung memory, you polish the memory
Yes.
and then
yes,
with strategies.
Tuturuan ako ni Ma'am Betty niya, hindi marunong mag-mahjong eh. I grew up seeing my parents, my grandparents, pero
Pag
hindi ako
mag-retire ka
mahilig.
na.
Yes.
Eh, well, ako
Sige
marunon
po.
ako mag-mahjong pero mahilig matalo kaya hindi na ako. Hindi ako
no, actually,
nagmamahjong.
mahjong is an example, no. But
Yes, sir.
what I mean is, use your brain.
Yes,
Use
Yeah.
yes.
your brain. Whether senior,
Exercise.
use your brain because if you
Mm-mm.
don't use it, you lose it. Okay?
So writing, yung handwriting pala helps us exercise, parang anti ano rin to pala.
Yes,
And
Exercise, ano ba yung sakit ng mga senior citizen?
Alzheimer.
Ah, Alzheimer, anti-Alzheimer pala to. Therapy rin pala
Yes,
to.
yes, because
Wow,
it
that's good.
because your brain is madaming neurons eh. So if you use your brain,
Mm,
the neurons will work together. Okay?
okay.
parang ano siya, also coordination, 'di ba?
Yes.
Coordination
Mm,
of the hand, the
good
eyes,
pala.
and the brain.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
You know,
Yeah.
another benefit of handwriting is it makes you more peaceful,
Mm,
Mhm.
more
Mm.
calm. If you notice that if you use typewriting, no, you point right, but in handwriting
Nakakapagod.
you're parang a conductor eh. You sway,
Mm.
you
ah,
sway, you sway.
Mm.
Diba? So
meron,
there's a rhythm,
up and down.
there's
Yeah,
a
may
rhythm,
rhythm,
there's a
up
beat.
and down.
So it slows down your metabolism so that you can reflect on yourself. There are
Mm.
people I think there's one that they call indignation day, that they write down all their concerns and they burn it that day.
Mhm.
Diba? They
Mm.
Tama,
burn that
tama.
day.
May mga ganong therapy, May
Mm.
mga ganong
That's a
therapy.
Okay.
therapy.
Oo.
So
Mm.
remember, handwriting is a therapy itself. So
Mm.
again, if
Deserve.
especially like our age, uh, second stage, or what do we have to do? We also try writing everything down. It helps our
Mm.
memory.
Journal,
It
Mm.
no?
helps our memory.
Journaling. You can
Yeah,
journal
Pwede
for
ba
the day.
journaling.
Yeah.
can we write to become younger?
Staying young
Uh,
lang ba? Staying young.
we write so that we will have more energy, so that we can
Yeah.
live longer.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
Okay.
that
And
would
yung
be a
quality
better
of
word.
life. Also. Quality of
Mm.
life.
Remember, writing is also an exercise. You have to
Mm.
exert effort. So again,
There is
especially
therapy nga in writing, 'di ba? Especially like, 'di ba, I remember sa olden times, they always like to write a diary, 'di ba? So
yes,
when you write your diary, you also are, 'pag may sama ka ng loob, if you don't feel well, parang
Yeah.
you're pouring it out so that in a sense,
Expression din. Expression.
yeah, in a
correct.
sense, you get rid of them from your system. Tama?
But it's more than that, Betty. When you write it
Mhm.
down, you might be able to get the answer because you've
Sabagay,
reflected.
oo, tama. Yeah, right.
Or,
So,
Well, they say nga when you are trying to solve a problem, 'di ba, you have to write down the pros and the cons kasi it's better
mm,
that you can reflect on it better. Aha.
yes.
yeah.
Mm.
So
Pero that's
now,
Mm.
another ano na 'yon. That's another graphology what do
graphotherapy.
you call? Graphotherapy na
Okay.
pwedeng magawa. Mm.
Okay. So now, let's say if you are
Mhm.
emotionally concerned that you have a problem, what I would recommend is you write something that's affirmative. Kunyari, you
Mm.
want to lose weight.
Mm.
You want to say, I will
Yes.
be lighter, blank, blank, blank.
Mhm.
So you affirm,
Ah,
positive
okey.
Okay.
affirmation. Okay?
Gano'n
So it's
pala
a,
'yun. So, I should write, "I will be
It's
lighter by"
affirmative.
sabi nila
So,
dapat measurable, eh. So, "I will be lighter by 2 kilos at the end of February." Parang gano'n.
right. It has to be
Hmm,
measurable. You have to put a date on that.
oh yeah,
Para
put a date
affirm,
on it.
affirm. You then
mhm,
you keep on writing every day, every day.
mm,
Now they
mhm,
say that how if you write 45 with 30 to 45 days, what will happen? It becomes a habit, and it's ingrained in your
mm,
subconscious,
Lifestyle na
mm,
yan.
and you will do it.
mm,
You
mm.
will do it.
Parang
So again,
nafo-focus
yes,
ka.
you will
Mm,
focus. So if you are emotionally stressed right now, write something nice,
Mm.
something to help
okey.
yourself in
Mm,
affirmative tone. Put a
mhm,
deadline, diba? And write it every day, at least for 30 to 45 days. And you will
mhm,
see changes in your state of mind.
mhm,
Now,
mm.
one of the concerns, right, na sinabi, ang problema ko, wala akong pera. Diba? Diba,
Mhm.
wala akong pera. The
'Pag
important
nagsulat
thing,
magkakapera
yeah,
ba?
you write it there. You write it, no, you write it there that I will have money. Diba? You write the concern, then
Your
probably you can
positive,
come out with the idea, where will I get the money? Diba? So in
From
short,
my
no,
neighbor, ganyan, from my
yeah,
neighbor, from my
borrow,
so,
yeah. Or is it look for
joke
another
lang.
job or go into business.
Yeah,
Magluto
go
ka.
to business. Oo,
Magluto ka, tapos
be a writer.
bentahan mo yung neighbor mo.
Correct, diba? So there's a lot of ways, honest ways to earn money. Okay,
Yes,
that's
yes.
why we have an increase of, I think, 88,000 online businesses in the Philippines.
Correct. Ngayon, no? Yes.
88. I forgot that I'm the uh, president of Entrepreneur Society of the Philippines. So we encourage people to go into business. Diba?
Especially now, sir.
Yes,
Home-based, maraming jobless. Ay, sir,
correct.
merong
Yes.
question dito lang before you continue, sir. Kanina pa to kay John Layo. Ito, isang graphic artist.
Okay.
Paano po kung magandang, teka, yung putol pala ito. Yung kasunod pala. Ito. Senador, paano po kung maganda nga po yung writings po ninyo, meaning siguro yung penmanship, pero magulo po yung content or hindi maintindihan. What do you mean content? Yung laman ng
Hindi,
sinusulat.
siguro mga di mga nasa loob, no? Actually, no, number one, if you write too perfect, masyadong perfect, no, that's that's a sign of compulsive,
Obsessive compulsive
OCD.
naman.
yeah.
OC naman. Oo,
Compulsive.
yeah.
Okay. Now,
Disorder din yan.
regarding kay Mr. John, no, okay,
Yes, sir.
it's good to write down everything, but what you need is you have to outline what you're thinking. So when you write it down, then you try to dissect what you're writing. Then you will understand better, diba? Because what you're writing probably is mga subconscious. Subconscious is telling you what to write. But you can analyze your idea there. Go back and read it again. Lalabas yung mga ideas na gusto mo. Okay?
Parang you have a goal in mind din,
Yes,
diba?
sir. Sir, before we segue to the sir, to your PowerPoint, no, sir, to medyo go workshop tayo eh. Can we take a break muna?
Okay,
It's
sige.
59, konting lang breather. Sige, sir. Maiksi lang naman po. Okay. Okay, we have some commercials here. Here we go.
Ikaw ba ay may problema dahil sa bad bacteria? Mayroong solusyon para sa'yo, huwag mag-alala. Subukan mo na para may good digestion ka. Happy life sa Biota. Para laging masabi ako dyan.
Mahalagang paalala, ang 15 Biota ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Kung puso ang problema, break the bad habits. Move on na para sa healthy heart. It's a big 5-0. Tara na, let's all be fit. Mega healthy sa Omega 963. Para sa heart nutrient deficiency. Sa big 5-0, strong ang heart and body. Sa big 5-0.
Nakamove on ka na't kumanda? Sa Big 5-0, puso mo ay alagang-alaga.
Mahalagang paalala, ang Big 5 o ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Anak, anong gusto mong juice? Ang gusto ko, veggie juice kasi... Gusto juice! Gusto ng lahat! Ang veggie juice na pampasigla ng katawan. Nasa gusto na ang lahat. May gulay na, may prutas pa. Ito na ang sustansya. Vitamin ay kumpleto. Ikaw, ma, gusto mo? Uminom na ng isang baso ng sustansya. Kompletong sigla para sa ating pamilya. Gusto Veggie Juice, your yummy veggie drink. No approved therapeutic claims.
Okay. Yun.
We're back.
Yes, we are back, sir. And continuing with your, sir.
There's a
Yes, sir.
term, a sound mind in a sound body. So if
Yes,
your mind is good, then your body will also be good. Diba? So dapat both of them complement each other. Okay, can we go to the next slide, no?
Yes, sir.
Next slide. These are some tips, no, to determine the type of handwriting you have. Okay, the first question is, who is moodier, A or B?
A.
Correct. A is moodier. So if you want to be more calm, you write like B. There's a, so in short, it's a steady. So let's go to the next slide. Who is more introverted? Who, meaning who is outgoing? A or B?
B.
Correct. B. B. If you notice, the circle is bigger. If you notice, mga president, mga artists, normally their signature handwriting malaki. Okay. So now let's go to the next is okay, the question here is who likes to be in the middle of everything?
B.
B. Okay, because nasa middle. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. Who is feeling more aggressive, A or B?
B.
B. Okay, whose signature is B? The
Si
signature
Donald
of,
Trump, diba?
diba si Trump? Ayan.
Si
Donald
ex-president. Yeah.
Yeah, so si President Trump. So that's why he's very aggressive. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Who is feeling more depressed? A or B?
A.
B.
Ako, pag
Okay.
A. Pag mali
Okay,
sagot ko nito, babalik yung certificate ko. A.
Ay, ganun ba? Meron pala insert dito.
The answer
I
correct
studied.
si Betty is A because it's
A.
going down.
Okay.
So if your handwriting is going down, ibig sabihin you're depressed. Si Duterte, remember, his signature is going up. So is Jose Rizal. So
Jose
ibig sabihin
Rizal.
they're positive.
Okay.
Okay. So
Oh.
next slide. Who is
Uy.
feeling more uptight and narrow-minded? A or B?
A.
A.
A, correct. It's A. Kasi,
Samba.
diba?
So,
Matipid eh. Matipid.
mm.
So,
Oo
pag
nga,
sulat
matipid.
mo matipid, ibig sabihin, kuripot ka. In a way. Okay, let's go to the next. Who is holding back his feeling?
Oh.
A or B?
A ito, paatras yung slash eh. Paatras yung
A.
slash.
A,
Hindi,
sige.
nakahiga.
Okay,
A.
the answer is letter A. Correct. Because
Backslash kasi
he
sir.
or he's withholding his emotion. So if your handwriting is to the left, ibig sabihin, normally you do not display your emotion.
May nakita nga, may mga ganyan nga sir, na mga handwriting, medyo patayo na medyo nakalean towards the left. A bit.
The left
Diba?
people, well, if you're left leaning, ibig sabihin, puro utak ang ano, you use your brain rather than your heart. Yung letter B
Or
is
logical.
Yung letter B is you are emotional compassionate. Katulad sa'yo, DJ Raymond.
Oo nga
Right
eh.
now, ibig sabihin, compassionate. Okay?
Sulat.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. Who is feeling more economical? Tipid. A or
Oo
B?
nga, sir.
A.
A, correct.
Ay,
Kaya
lang siya
matipid
eh.
eh. Sayang ang papel, no?
Kaya-
If you notice.
Ano, one line lang eh. Pero linear din ba yan sir? Yung ganyan,
Ano?
linear din ba isip niyan? Isang line
Pwede
lang.
rin. Pero the reason here is how you use your paper also determines whether you're kuripot or not. Diba? Or
Kaya-
prudent.
Prudent.
Yeah. Pero in life, we would like to be balanced eh. So like for
Correct.
example, 'di ba, if masyadong maliit or masyadong siksik yung sulat, we would like people to be more para through handwriting pwedeng lakihan niya yung sulat niya para hindi siya ganong ka-economical, 'di ba? Siyempre there's something good with being economical, pero kaya lang kasi kung Mr. Scrooge ka naman, di masyado naman you will not be good to yourself as well as to the people around you. Everything
Good.
has to be balanced.
Good observation yan, ah. Good observation. Okay. What is graphotherapy? Graphotherapy is changing your handwriting so that you become better.
Actually, may
At the present.
pag-asa pa pala, sir. May pag-asa pa. Hindi, all hope is not lost. Like, kung pala
Oo.
di ba may kasabihan tayo, yung penmanship mo is like parang kinahig ng manok. Kinahig ng manok.
Maliliit, di
Yeah,
ba? Well,
correct.
pwedeng lakihan.
Okay, ganito, that's a good observation. No? Normally, a graphotherapist, we ask, no, what do you want to change? Your personality. I will give you an example.
Tama.
Si Trump, if I were to
Yes, sir.
ask that question, I don't think he will want to change because
Yeah.
yan ang ugali niya and he is successful using that.
Correct.
Diba? So, graphology, we always ask the person, no, pag gusto pagbabago para pwede namin
Parang,
tulungan ka.
Parang
it
But
has
if
to
you,
come
but if
from
you
the
feel,
person.
correct.
i-design
So if you
dun sa
feel
gusto.
there's nothing wrong, then we do not need to change.
Okay.
Yan lang. Okay. So I'll give you an example. I have one student, as honor student of UE, one of my students in graphology. So she's very shy. Honor student siya. So I asked her to change her handwriting. So she did change. Every time I have a seminar and I will ask somebody to talk about her testimony, I will ask her, believe it or not, without a blink of eye, she will go up and explain. Dati ayaw. So ibig sabihin, it can make you better. Graphology. Again, depende sa tao kung anong gusto niya pagbabago.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, who ventures more out?
Who ventures out
Medyo
more?
mahirap to.
A or B?
B.
B?
B, correct, B. Because yun ay nasa, normally if you are to the
Ano
left,
siya
ibig sabihin pass eh. Yeah.
Safe side. Parang nasa safe side ka.
Yeah, yun,
Left.
the center
Pass.
means you're at present. Yan. So you're at, okay, let's go to the next slide.
Oh,
Who
who's more
is really
organized?
more organized? A or B?
B.
Siyempre, B. Na.
B. Okay.
Or O.
Graphology is what we call sixth sense, common sense. Because based on this drawing, pwede kayo maging graphologist na. Diba? Common sense lang yan eh. So now, these are some ways that you can look at your own handwriting. Can we go to the next slide?
Ay, yung Jimmy, what you're saying about sixth sense, common sense sa handwriting.
Yes.
In certain ways there are, but certain ways hindi din eh, kasi there are some strokes that are that have undergone probably a science-based na theory. That's why the theory is like that, di ba?
Okay, very good observation. No? Let's take Montessori in here in Green Hills. They have their own style of graphology. Diba? So most of the students in Montessori are very creative. Now, in the US, they say they use in handwriting the Palmer method. So that's what we use here, the Palmer method, the way to write longhand or script. Okay? Yes, there are ways that people change their yung mga style of handwriting. But when you change the style, you also change their personality. Diba? Ganyan yan eh. So depending on the school that teaches handwriting. Okay. Let's go to the next slide.
That's right.
Okay. Oh, signatures.
The loops. Ito yung sinasabi ko.
You know, katulad itong Y neto.
Yes, sir.
Normally when I have a seminar, I said, who of you writes the letter Y like that? If you notice the Y or G, mahaba pababa, no? Ano ibig sabihin? Strong sex drive. Wow. Delikado yan. Tapos yung number 2, if your Y or G is balloon, it means that you have sexual imagination.
Kailangan baguhin niyo pa kayo. Makakuli kayo dyan.
Okay, another example of how to interpret that yourself. If you like to draw a flower, ibig sabihin you're lovable, but you underestimate yourself. If you like to draw faces, if you are a girl and you like to draw pretty faces, ibig sabihin you're feminine. But if you're a guy that likes to draw feminine faces, ibig sabihin you're feminine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ganun
Now,
pala yun.
another example, if you want to always, you like to draw crocodiles, snake.
Oh,
Well,
yun,
this is good.
pang-congress ka niyan. Joke.
Now, if you like to draw uh, crocodile or snake, ibig sabihin you're sexually fascinated.
Mhm.
Oh.
Mm.
So, ibig sabihin every drawing, every stroke may meaning yan.
Hmm.
Okay. So, again,
Yes, sir.
there, graphology is so simple to learn, but there's a lot of things to learn. This is just only the tip of the iceberg.
Yes, sir. Introduction pa lang tayo, no?
Okay.
Kaya nga sabi ko kasi kay Sir Jimmy, yung webinars na, buti nga ngayon,
Yes, yes,
webinars
tama.
na he should do grapho. It's nice to have grapho therapy classes.
Yes,
Kasi
yes.
you will, so that we can help people change for the better.
Correct.
Baka pwede sponsor
I
ng
think
Health
the first-
Revolution.
Correct, but I think the first thing is graphology. We
Graphology.
teach people how to read themselves first.
Okay. Sir, may
Because
question ako dyan, sir.
Yes.
Diba, para bang, di ba, like a musician who has a perfect pitch, or para bang, makeup, ano ba yun? Yung bang mga veterinarians, animal doctors, kasi nga, tinuruan sa kanila, dissect nila yung mga animals, even the chicken that we eat. So,
Yes.
kasi pag nagkaroon ka ng revelation, di ba, medyo mahirap yan. May na-meet ka, ganun siya magsulat, parang medyo, meron ka na kagad, interpretation. How can you balance that? Di ba, parang nakakatakot yan, in a way.
Well, ganito, no? Number one is 20 years ago, there was a survey. If you are given a superpower, what would the superpower be? So some people say walk through the wall, to be able to fly. But the number one 20 years ago, to be able to read the mind of other people.
Yes.
And that is what graphology does. We read your mind. Sometimes yung mga ibang kaibigot natatakot sa akin eh. Tumating na siya, makakasahit ako.
Ay, sir, pero kilala ko yung anak ng friend ko eh. Yung mind reader siya eh. Yung mind, nag-feature nga siya sa ABC5. Naging guest ko last year. Actually, live. Nung una takal na, sa isang Christmas party namin, nag-demo yun. Pero, tapos nagkataon, yung palang may common friend kami, invite siya. Talagang on air, on live TV, ginagawa niya. Yung pala, maybe this is one of the skills that he has learned. Di ba?
Yeah, that's what we call mentalists.
Ayun, mentalist. Oo, tinuturo yung mentalism. Oo. Yeah, I remember.
Partly yung training namin is to be a mentalist also.
Oh.
But ang maganda dito is
Very
this one
interesting.
is naka-frozen yung evidence because it's written down. I forgot handwriting can also determine whether you're honest or not, whether you're telling the truth or not.
Naku, kailangan pagkaanin ng mga politiko dyan.
No comment. No.
Hindi naman lahat.
Pero Jimmy, I'm curious lang on the yung suicidal, 'di ba? Ano yung stroke that tells you that a person may be suicidal?
I suggest not to
Going
say
down.
it here
Ay.
because suicidal is
Baka
a
mamaya,
very
gama.
baka mamaya makamali, disgrasya na.
Ah.
Lalo na tumalon na
Okay.
tao.
But then it's nice to have the handwriting going up, 'di ba? A lot of people knows about this na kaya pansinin niyo, ang daming signature ngayon pataas.
Yeah, but
Yes.
you should be careful. It doesn't mean pataas is always good.
Oo.
Kaya nga, we have to look at it carefully. Diba? So it's not because pataas. Kasi if you're too high, you might fall. Diba?
Kaya naman siya
Okay.
level grounded.
So,
Parang medyo
Yung
level
pataas,
headed.
tama-tama.
Oo, sakto lang.
Tama-tama.
Yeah, I remember suggestion nga ni Sir Jimmy, di ba yung slash ni yung guhit ni long T ni Digong, mas maganda ibababa ng konti.
Konti lang.
Konti.
He will accomplish
Para
a lot of
mag-touch.
things more.
Okay. Alright. Okay,
Kasi
siguro.
parang
solicited
kasi nung
advice yun. So,
So,
Nung
anyway,
nag-iwal-
I think, yes.
your time. Oh, it's time
Kasi,
already. Very
Ay,
interested si
nako,
Ma'am
ito
Betty.
rin.
Hindi napansin yung oras.
Oo nga
Oh, yeah.
eh. Ay,
And
Yes, sir.
anyway, let me recap. No, for mga
Yes
parents,
po.
ask your children to start writing
Mm.
cursive.
Okay.
Start writing cursive. For those that are emotionally concerned, start writing affirmative statement in cursive. It will help you.
mm. Tapos yun, magsulat siya ng affirmation, 'di ba? Yung tinutupi nila into ano, parang yung stars na ano or something, 'di ba? Tapos sinushoot sa ano, sa isang bottle.
Pwede
It's like
rin.
a
Oh, message in a
bottle of
bottle. Yeah.
affirmations, something like
Yeah.
that. Oo. So, those are very simple ano lang, simple
Therapy.
graphotherapy tips,
Therapy.
'di ba?
Mhm.
Oo. Pero Jimmy, pwede ba mag-consult tayo yung mga tao? Just
And how
in
can they
case.
get in touch with you, sir? For
Uh,
information, for
yeah.
other,
Yeah, okay.
if they want to
Well, if you
dig into this. Yeah.
okay, well, you can call me. You can email me at
Yun.
JK Japan Korea Shanghai Yankee Bravo
JK.
Charlie at yahoo.com.
Yes,
You
sir,
can
can you
email
repeat that?
Jake
JK.
SY Shanghai
S1.
Yankee Bravo Charlie at yahoo.com. You can
BC
email
at
me.
So that is JKSY Bravo.
Yes, Charlie
Charlie.
Okay.
at
At
yahoo.com. Yes, we do. Number one, we normally what we will do is we start with a one-on-one reading, grapho reading.
tama ba to,
Then
sir?
yeah, that's the correct email. Yes.
Okay. JKC BC. All right.
Yeah.
Sige, sir.
Ayan.
A
That's
graphologist is not a manghuhula,
Yes,
but
sir.
Oo.
our reading is very accurate. The 85%
Kaya nga,
accurate.
sir. Oo.
Si
Kaya-
Raymond can attest to that.
Correct, correct. Naging loadie ko nga si Sir Jimmy.
Pero hindi yan yung ano hindi yan yung for Jimmy it's more of a hobby. Hobby na ngayon. No? Kasi Jimmy
Kaya
has
hindi
a
kinareer
business.
talaga. Oo.
Hindi niya kina-career kasi he is more involved with the financing, insurance, 'di ba?
Yes.
Insurance.
Yes,
And
sir.
then what else? Entrepreneurship,
Oo nga po, sir.
Toastmaster. By the way, Jimmy is also a Toastmaster.
Yes, we want to help people self-develop their communication skill. So if you
Okay.
want to be an influencer, you learn to communicate, and
That's
that's
right.
what Toastmaster is all about. So
Oh,
anybody who's interested to become a Toastmaster,
okay.
just email me again. The same
Kasi yun yung
email address,
post.
and
I
we
thought
will
it's
get in touch
post.
with you.
Yes, akala ko yung post office post. Yung pala posting. As in digital posting.
Yeah,
Postmaster. Okay.
Toastmaster.
Online na ba, Sir Jimmy? Online na ba ang Toastmaster?
Postmaster.
Yeah, Toastmaster is an international organization.
Oh, wow.
So every country has its own Toastmasters organization.
Website ba yan, sir? Or
Diba
Facebook page?
the meetings, diba?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
The meetings of Toastmaster are online na?
Right
Or-
now, the meetings are online because bawal yung face-to-face as of the moment.
Virtual.
But again, the Toastmaster teaches two things. It teaches communication skill. It teaches leadership. And it's cheaper than going to a speech class.
Uh-huh.
Because there you're honing on your skills in communication and leadership.
Oo,
So,
kasi hands-on, no? You are going to talk, right? You are trained to talk.
Correct. And your fellow members will evaluate you and suggest how to improve.
So this is sir pala, Postmaster Communication, yun ba yun?
Yes.
Toast. You
Postmaster
toast.
Communication. Yeah.
Yeah. But these are
Toast.
these are TOAST.
Toast.
Oo,
Toastmaster.
Parang oven. You toast the bread.
Yeah,
Toastmaster.
Okay.
You toast the speaker. Ganon.
Ito, nakita ko, kasi sinesearch ko ngayon sa Google. Communication and leaders. Okay.
Actually,
Toastmasters.org. Yeah,
correct.
.org.
Actually, these things that we do is we try to help people become better. Yeah. Even
Yeah.
graphology, we always say, you study graphology, first analyze yourself before you are able to analyze other people. Diba?
Yes,
Then you
tama.
improve yourself.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Correct.
So these
Correct.
are mga social civic activities that I do, parang paying back to the society. And
That's
these are mga we are blessed by God with a lot of opportunities and benefits. So we do
yun.
this to help other people.
Thank you so much, sir. Talagang may
Yeah.
your tribe increase, Sir
Oo.
Jimmy. Oo, dami mga advocacies, involvement in helping, giving back to the community,
Diba
adding
nasa Biblia,
value to people. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
correct. Di ba sinabi Biblia, give and you shall receive. Di
That's
ba?
right. Exactly.
Pay it forward ang sinasabi
Yes,
natin. Pay it
sir.
forward.
Yes,
Diba?
Yes.
oo.
Ayun ang
Nako,
website nila,
ready.
toastmasters.org.
Pero
And
ano
also,
yan, may chapter eh. Ano yung chapter ng sa'yo, Jimmy?
I have plenty of chapters.
Okay.
pero
If
basta
anybody's
PH lang,
interested, just
Philippines
email to
lang
me na
yun.
lang.
Oo,
Just
Ayan,
sige,
email to me.
anybody. Yes.
Ayan sir, jkysybc@yahoo.com.
Just email to
Alright.
me and we would recommend the club nearest to that
Oo.
person.
Yeah.
Or kunyari, depende sa ano. So my club, we're going to forming is puro mga entrepreneurs. Diba? So aside from communication, leadership, we also network with each other. Yung negosyo.
Maganda yan, Kinumbine na yung Entrep and the Toastmasters. That's good.
Win-win
Especially
situation.
now sa online, remember, you should be able to present yourself.
Correct.
Yes.
Ako nga, nakusa ko nung ganyan kasi para mga tao, pag when you present yourself or attend a virtual meeting, maganda naman, hindi yung sorry ko minsan or magulo, di ba? Kasi
Correct,
this is
yeah.
something that we have to learn. We have to adapt to this because this will be for, I think this will be for for the rest of our lives. Yung
Yes.
mga ganitong virtual meetings. Okay, so we are wrapping up. Sir, kanina naibigay mo na Sana si Lubert nagre-recording naman. Yung takeaway mo, sir, kanina naibigay mo. Ang ganda na Ang ganda. So, we were going to repurpose that. I-upload namin sa YouTube channel ng My Big Ink PH. You search for it. Makikita natin yung mga ito at saka sa Facebook page din namin, HTV Philippines and My Big Ink at saka Revolution. So, pwede nyo i-reply ito and yung mga takeaways, kinakat yan then para nakafocus ang mga takeaways doon naman sa My Big Ink PH sa YouTube. Ayun. Sir, anything more to say, to announce or sir, kayo sir? Shout out or what? Sir, kayo. Like a parting message.
Well, parting message is, start, if all the the people selling mga ball pen, pencils, gel pens, if you gather together and start the advocacy of handwriting, I think it will help the Philippines improve the people, including the children, and also those that are emotionally concerned. Diba? Maganda yan advocacy.
Yes, sir. Let's do it, sir. Let's do
Very
it. Sige.
simple, no?
Do it.
It's a very simple but doable advocacy. Ayun.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Jimmy, for your time.
Thank you so much.
Ah,
It's an honor to be here.
Solid yung 1 hour and 10 minutes natin.
More
Sobrang
than,
solid.
sumobra na
Sobrang
tayo. But this
Okay,
is what's
sir.
good with an online. We can talk,
Yes,
we can
And
extend
medyo
our,
extend. Yeah. Correct.
oo.
And
But
actually,
I'm sure there's
as we-
still many things, there are
We-
still many
invite
things
natin
that we
ulit.
can learn from
Invite natin ulit.
Jimmy.
si Sir Jimmy pag ulit some other time, no? Sir, may pa-play kasi kami closing video. Pero sir, invite ka namin ulit to dig deeper
Sige.
into this. Ang dami kong kanina naisip naman gusto kong i-interject o itanong-tanong. Kaya lang hahaba tayo. Next time.
Yeah, because
Next
we are
time,
Interesting. Talagang very broad, very interesting.
very,
This is something
talking
new to
very,
us kasi.
with limited time, yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah.
Thank you,
So-
and blessed good afternoon, everybody.
Stay safe, sir. Stay safe.
Stay safe,
Thank you.
everybody. Also, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
See you
good.
again.
See you. Okay.
Play muna tayo ng closing video. Ma'am Betty, we'll be back pa rin to wrap up this.
Yes.
Okay. So, bye-bye. Sir Jimmy, say
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Alright,
Ah,
closing na tayo with ano closing with a
ah,
bang. Grab music natin, rock
okay.
music. Right. Ayun, talagang sobrang
Ah,
dami natin natutunan kay Sir
mm,
Jaime C. Bauco, isang talagang
mm,
tunay na Lodi.
mm,
Ang galing,
mm.
galing. So
Mm.
next week, ma'am, sino
So,
bang ating guest for next week?
I think next week
Ay, for ano, yung
we have Doktora
dermatologist.
Kamitan. Oo.
Yes,
Si
wow.
Doktora
Tama.
Daisy Kamitan
Yes,
is
ma'am. Napansin
going
ko
to
kasi
talk.
nga, yeah, dumadami. Parang medyo nagkakanang white tayo dito. Lagi nag-iiba yung
Ganon, sa
color.
mga
So,
mask.
minsan, yes, ma'am. Sa
Siguro
masks natin.
kapag lumalabas ka, 'di ba, ganyan. So
Hmm,
anyway, we'll talk about that next week.
yun. Very
So,
interesting.
oo, see you all again next week
Thank
and
you.
hope we have another hour of learnings as
Yep.
we bring you Health Revolution next Wednesday. Sige,
All
thank
right.
you, Raymond. See
Thank
you.
you, ma'am. Okay, thank you guys and stay safe always. Stay home. Mask, ano yun, wear your mask, wear your shields as much as possible. Stay home lang tayo. Okay, God bless us. Stay safe, everyone.